Welcome to our expert webinar on IoT Application Suite. Today you will receive valuable information about our digital caretakers and cybersecurity guards for your energy distribution, automation systems and networks. My name is Anastasia Barabash and I work as a technical promoter for IoT and digitalization.
And my name is Ayla Kleman and I'm the head of sales for IoT Application Suite and cybersecurity offerings. Today we are really happy to be the speakers for this webinar.
First of all, let's go through the agenda of this webinar on the IoT Application Suite. Today we will start with the IoT portfolio overview, namely NX Power Monitor and Simaris Control, the digital caretakers for your substation equipment. Our grid diagnostic suite, which includes cProtect Dashboard, CCAM Navigator, and CCAM Localizer. Then we will move on to our intelligent substation for EV charging and cProtect Digital Twin. You will also learn how you can ensure cybersecurity in your substations and discover our applications OT Companion and ZIM. Moreover, along with the application presentation, we will showcase 2 short live demo sessions to give you a better feeling how our applications look like. Please be aware that today we will give you a high-level overview. In the following webinars, we will have deep dive sessions on each presented portfolio element. And since we receive one question rather often, yes, we will record the webinar and make the recording and the slides available to all registered participants. If you have any questions during the webinar, please type them in the Q&A field. We will check the field and try to answer them after our presentation during this live session. And please be aware of the following limitation. The chat is available in the live mode only. Q&A questions will be answered via email if not managed during the live session. And just in case you are in a full screen mode, please escape to see the Q&A and chat box. I guess now everyone is curious to learn more about IoT Application Suite, so let's start.
So, before we show you our applications, we want to give you some insight what keeps our customers awake at night. What do you think is the worst case scenario? Of course, a shutdown. I think you all could imagine what it means in private life if there is no energy anymore. No internet, no light. For industry production or power utility, this is really the worst case. All your production processes are stopping. That means your energy distribution assets are really critical and the demand for highest reliability is a must. But Anna, if I remember correctly, that was not only the only thing what was coming out from our customer discussions, right?
Exactly. According to the results of a survey conducted by the Association of the Industrial Energy and Power Industry, 60% of all industrial companies have experienced at least one power outage in recent years. Even if the supply was quickly restored, the resulting loss of revenue can quickly reach 6-digit figures or higher. To keep them safe, frequent field checks, especially for aging assets, should be implemented. No wonder the demand for the sensors, analytics, continuous monitoring and predictive maintenance is growing.
And furthermore, customers told us that they are dependent on really specialized personnel for all maintenance and operation activities. These maintenance activities are based on provider recommendations, but must be adapted to site needs and to the actual conditions. Often there's a lot of effort behind to get the right information at the right time to avoid catastrophic failures. Here, our solution helps to achieve a better transparency in a first step. Secondly, they support the switch from preventive maintenance to predictive maintenance, improve productivity and ensure cybersecurity. With that, let's start with the overview of IoT application fields and customer drivers we are working with. Here you see a summary about the whole IoT application suite for energy distribution and automation systems as well as networks. It is clustered via different IoT application fields. So let's go from the left to the right. The first main drivers are increase the uptime and productivity, reduce OPEX and CAPEX, and drive sustainability. Here we are covering the use case of asset management, and transparency, for example for switchgears, transformers and motors. The second logical step after having transparency is substation operation, with condition monitoring, fault management and analysis, and predictive maintenance, as well as energy monitoring, including benchmarking energy consumption and CO2 emission features. Our third cloud-based solution, NX Power Monitor, covers all these mentioned fields. Simaris Control is an on-premise system for substation maintenance and asset management with the similar functionality of NX Power Monitor, but on-premise. And CProtect Dashboard is designed for protection relay monitoring. In the following chapters, we'll describe application features and their benefits in more detail. But on this slide, you can already see some of the unique selling propositions described below. The most important ones are increasing uptime and reducing OPEX and CAPEX, thanks to condition monitoring and the sensors installed for these purposes.
Let's move on to the second part, which includes OT device management and cybersecurity topics, starting with the CProtect Digital Twin. CProtect Digital Twin is the real-time digital replica of a protection relay device, CProtect 5. It includes algorithms, functionality, and communication interfaces of a physical device. The innovative cloud-based solution offers a comprehensive test of the CProtect 5 device as part of the energy automation system. To ensure cybersecurity and OT device management, we have OT Companion and ZIM, Security Information and Event Management System, in our portfolio. By OT devices, we mean devices such as relays, RTUs, PCs, routers, and others. OT Companion helps you to maintain transparency of the OT assets and the installed base of energy automation components, facilitate effective security patch management, and simplify compliance to cybersecurity regulations. And ZIM helps to timely detect suspicious activity and gain visibility and traceability on the intrusions targeting the OT systems. ZIM reliably protects OT assets against cyber threats. The last part focuses on the secondary distribution automation and EV charging load management. Our application CCAM Navigator is created for distribution transformer station monitoring and e-car charging station monitoring. It enables power grid operators to detect and localize faults in cable network-based transformer stations. Besides, it gives the opportunity to have the load management and a remote command control of the low voltage control devices with Simaris Control as a gateway. Now, let's have a closer look at the application features and their benefits. Ayla, could you tell us some more details about the first part you described?
Of course. So let's move on. We start with the digital caretakers of your substation, NX Power Monitor and Simaris Control. Both applications are comprehensive and provide visibility into your medium and low voltage switchgears, as well as transformers and other electrical equipment. In order to identify which features might be beneficial for customers, our team conducted a series of customer interviews to learn more about their pain points. Based on these results, we identified core customer values, which we incorporated in the apps. The first pain point were related to the lack of asset transparency, need for periodical travel to the substation, and here, think on the COVID times, where it was nearly impossible to travel. Without transparency, it is hard to make any decision because of this weak basis. That is why our apps provide asset transparency with real-time sensor data collection, and thereby the decision-making process is supported with KPIs. The next customer challenge were unplanned shutdowns, manual frequent preventive maintenance, which takes a lot of time and money. Here we offer a condition monitoring with online health index, continuous monitoring, instant alarms in case of faults, and accurate diagnosis of possible faults. Another customer value add is energy monitoring. With the increasing loads and goals for energy savings, it's important to monitor and benchmark energy consumption. NX Power Monitor and Simaris Control can visualize energy consumption trends and also CO2 emissions, as now the topic of sustainability is on everyone's lips. Moreover, all documents such manuals, drawings, reports needed for the continuous improvement can be stored in one app. With these features, you achieve OPEX savings, CAPEX deferment, and risk optimization. Here, I'd like to go into detail with two use cases from the previous slide: asset transparency and condition monitoring. Condition monitoring is one of the main advantages of these solutions, as it helps to detect errors at a really early stage and as a result prevent failures and unplanned shutdowns. Condition monitoring can be divided into three modulars. First, temperature and humidity monitoring, where we can detect loose connections, for example, screwed busbar connections or cable terminations, and inadequate contacts, for example, with the withdrawable circuit breaker. This can arise from the fact that instead of the necessary torque of M12, only that for M10 was used at a high speed. We identify local overheating at terminals to prevent power outages and to avoid failures because of corrosion or oxidation. Second is the circuit breaker monitoring. It is usually done during scheduled shutdowns and checks whether the circuit breaker is working as expected. The circuit breaker monitoring can detect faulty circuit breaker mechanisms, components, for example, the tripping coils, the closing coils, the spring-loaded drive motors, and the switching time. And third, partial discharge monitoring, which helps in the detection of started insulation faults, which are gradual, creeping faults which, however, if left undetected, can lead to a shutdown. Partial discharge measurement can detect faulty components, for example in the medium voltage connections, insulators, bushings, or voltage converters. All of these features are optional. They are not a must, but recommended for getting a better analysis and more insights about the substation. To sum it up, both NX Power Monitor and Simaris Control have these features. On this slide you can see some screenshots with the use cases from the applications, from NX Power Monitor as a cloud-based solution and Simaris Control as an on-premise solution. For your information, we also have our Siemens factory in Frankfurt, Calver and Gebse connected to this application. So if you like to have a live demo or a deep dive session, please contact me or my colleagues. We can organize that. But as our time is limited today and deep dive sessions will come for these portfolio elements, I move on to the next application and a short overview of Simaris Control. Simaris Control is a digital solution that concentrates data on-premise from all electrical substation assets with a graphic representation and flexible interface functions designed to provide to maintenance teams a local and remote transparency of devices, documentation and a health status evaluation with the aim to reduce maintenance time and costs, increase energy availability and assets life along with better power management. And now I want to switch over to a short live demonstration to make it a little bit more tangible. So for that, we move to a live demo and to my laptop, so give me a second. And we start how that could look like. So here we see really the NX Power Monitor application. It's the starting point. You see we start in a geographic view. That means, first of all, you see where your substation locations are located. We have here three different substations that are exactly our factory substations, like Frankfurt, Gebse and Calver in India. So I select one substation. Here we have a red light, so it seems to be something went wrong. So we click on this and then we see our factory, here our Gebse factory, and I see we have one connected asset. In this case, it's an NXR Edge, so it's an air-insulated medium voltage switchgear. I can shortly click on it, then you get some meta information like asset information, the connectivity status, how old the asset is. So in this case, it was really a brownfield, so the switchgear is commissioned in 2009. I get some main KPIs. like the energy budget monitoring, the availability, the current health index. That is exactly what we have explained before with the condition monitoring, here with the temperature and the partial discharge monitoring, and the CO2 emission. I see also how much feeders are connected. So I see we have here 2 incomer feeders, in which position they are, and some outgoing feeders. I can also deep dive into it and can go more into the details. So I can go for an outgoing feeder, for example, then I get the active power, reactive power, I get the position of the different switches. So really everything what is necessary and what you need in hand to make also better decisions. But we always mentioned this, and now we have a short outage of the internet. So give me a second and a short reload. So we wanted to go to the condition monitoring part, so where really the temperature monitoring and the PD monitoring is behind. So give us some seconds if the connection is coming back, hopefully. Let's see. Seems to be not working, so I only wanted to show you. So what we're doing, I explain it then a little bit. So the application gives you have seen this red light. And there we can go more into the details. So for example, if we had on the incomer this red light that was coming from a temperature warning, so we have a too high temperature in this incomer feeder. So there it's really now easier for the maintenance team to send the personnel directly to the substation, and we know exactly what is going on for example, to clean it up. With that, I think we go back to our slides, and I guess you have a question in mind. Who is already benefiting from the NX Power Monitor and Simaris Control? We have summarized some industry where we already implemented our solutions. For example, we had some project with NX Power Monitor in the metal industry, tire manufacturing, and implemented the monitoring on our own Siemens factories. As for the Simaris Control, we implemented the on-premise solution for energy operator, for chemical companies, for oil and gas companies, and in the automotive industry, and many others. And now we go back to our next session, and that is with Anna for the GDS part.
Thank you. Let's move on to our grid diagnostic suite, which allows to have the fault management and condition monitoring for primary and secondary distribution systems and grids. Grid Diagnostic Suite allows to process grid data transparently in the cloud. CProtect Dashboard is designed for protection relay monitoring of the primary substation, such as high and medium voltage protection relays. CCAM Navigator is created for distribution transformer station monitoring and e-car charging station monitoring. And CCAM Localizer monitors overhead line distribution network. I will describe the functionality and the benefits of all three applications in more details in this chapter. So let's start with the CProtect Dashboard, our first application, which is focusing on one of the most important parts of the switchgear, the protection relay. CProtect Dashboard enables service engineers to get insights and precise information about critical grid faults immediately on their mobile devices, wherever they are. That leads to a smarter way of working. With this application, you get the protection relay monitoring and fault management, optimization of error analysis in high voltage and medium voltage networks, as well as efficient data analysis of protection device data. CProtect Dashboard visualizes data transmitted from protection relays into the cloud. Information from CProtect and RayRoll devices becomes easily available in a map view. Operators can then analyze the status of the distributed energy automation systems based on protection trip information, condition monitoring data, and security events. CProtect Dashboard reduces the outage time by swift fault clearance and prevention. Additionally, it increases uptime by immediate fault notifications via SMS or email. On this slide, you can see the overview of the CProtect Dashboard features: fault management, circuit breaker condition monitoring, protection device management, event reporting, and more. It also provides a ComTrade file recording of the faults and remote access to them. cProtect dashboard allows to improve grid stability and profitability, reduce OpEx by quick and efficient grid spanning fault log analysis, and prevent outages. Moreover, it reduces maintenance cost and helps to manage risks by identifying potential asset breakdowns and failures before they happen. The second application of the Grid Diagnostic Suite is SICAM Localizer. To do an efficient maintenance on your overhead line distribution, you should have the right information. SICAM Localizer is designed to collect and analyze this information. SICAM Localizer analytics give comprehensive insights about your overhead line distribution network. It automates the reporting and localizing faults on overhead lines by using IoT-enabled fault sensors reporting to the cloud. Information on faulty line segments is shown on the map, leading to faster restoration of power in the affected area. Furthermore, energy flows and loads can be tracked and analyzed in a time series view to detect possible anomalies related to energy infeed or connected loads. Here you can see the overview of the SICAM Localizer features: fault management, fault notification resulting in the fast fault detection, grid analysis, fault statistics, event reporting, and other features. SICAM Localizer allows to reduce OpEx by supporting remote firmware updates and remote multi-asset configuration modification. Furthermore, it reduces maintenance cost, helps to manage risks, and prevent outages. Our last application of the Grid Diagnostic Suite is SICAM Navigator. SICAM Navigator is designed for a compact transformer station, including a secondary medium voltage switchgear, transformer, and low voltage equipment. The application is created for distribution transformer stations monitoring and, as a really new feature, provides the possibility for e-car charging station load management and remote control. The application enables power grid operators to immediately detect and localize faults in cable network-based transformer stations. We are collecting all necessary measurements and alarms and send them to the application. All of that without traveling to the substation, as you have done in the past. You can keep an eye on all your substations and critical assets while sitting at home. It also helps to improve grid planning via load transparency and analysis. The latest feature of SICAM Navigator is related to e-car charging stations. The increased demand for charging the e-cars raises the question of overloading the power grid. To avoid this problem, it's necessary to manage the load and have the possibility of remote control to reset the station in case of its overload. SICAM Navigator has both load management and remote command control features. Let's check them in more detail. The functionality of SICAM Navigator provides reliable fault management and load analysis. The load management helps to comply with the set points from Distributor Network Operator, DNO, and visualizes the load adjustments of the e-car charging stations in the app accordingly. Additionally, SICAM Navigator allows the authorized user with the rights to remotely send a command to the e-car charging station. That means that users don't have to go to the substation. They have a remote command control directly in the app from a single line diagram. Besides, users have a detailed command execution history and can see the exact time and person who was sending the command to the substation. Via the link siemens.com/griddiagnosticsuite demo, you can find free online demos for cProtect Dashboard, SICAM Navigator, and SICAM Localizer. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, we won't be able to showcase them all live today, but we will have separate webinars devoted to each application where all features, benefits, and demos will be presented. We will share the dates for the rest of the webinars in the end of this session. And now, as we already started talking about the growing EV charging infrastructure, Ayla, could you tell us more about our solution in this area?
Yes. So let's come to the next topic of intelligent substation for EV charging. Anna already started talking about the pain point of overloads in the power grid, but we can also see some other trends. First, the fast rising share of total electrical vehicle sales. Second, the EU goal to fight against the climate change and to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And third, the increase in the amount of people living in cities by 68% using more and more electrical cars. All these changes are leading to the EV charging infrastructure growth. As a result, the electrical infrastructure becomes more and more overloaded. To find the best utilization of the existing infrastructure, you have to extend existing infrastructure or you build up new infrastructure. Extending existing or building new infrastructure results in high capex investments to cover all additional loads and efforts to stabilize the network. Here, a smart solution is required. With our substation, we optimize the infrastructure expansion where there is no need to design panel for a peak load, for example, has a remote control function for maximizing uptime and avoiding travel time and costs by replacement of fuses with breakers and reset of chargers from remote and manage load peaks more efficiently. Here you can see that we offer two types of stations. First, a walk-in station with the concrete walls, or a compact substation with the metal walls depending on transformer rating. The transformer rating is based on the charger requirement, so for example if 8 or 6 high-speed chargers are required. Then the electrical infrastructure is designed as a complete solution and contains a medium voltage switchgear, low voltage switchgear, transformer inside with the IoT application on the cloud on top. CCAM Navigator is the IoT cloud solution, which takes all information from field devices and senses through a Simaris control gateway with an MQTT protocol to the cloud. As Anna already described before in the chapter about CCAM Navigator, the application gives the possibility to have a remote command control, which can be sent from the single line diagram and the remote control command history, and as well the load management visualizations for all your connected e-charging stations. One of the great references which we would like to share here is the implementation of the intelligent grid connection for aerial gas station distribution. The expansion of the public charging infrastructure was an essential requirement for the acceleration of electric mobility. And digitalization became an important prerequisite for efficient load management and optimized the use of power resources, which increased efficiency and reliability. What we have seen until now always had a focus on operation and maintenance. But Anna, I think we have also something else what supports even before operation.
Of course. Yes, let's move on to our CPROTEC digital twin, which allows to have a virtual testing of CPROTEC 5 protection devices. Here you can see the interface of the CPROTEC digital twin. Start all your function and protection testing setting from your PC without additional hardware. Simulate settings, find failures, and therefore save OPEX, time, and resources. With the CPROTEC digital twin, you can test your engineered energy automation system in the cloud, in parallel or before you set up the real hardware. It integrates all data models and other information of a physical protection device and offers a comprehensive test of the CPROTEC 5 devices throughout the entire life cycle of the system, during engineering, implementation, commissioning, operation, maintenance, and service. Testing of the energy automation system without hardware and without additional effort shortens customers' time to operation significantly. All devices to be tested from a full substation can be set up virtually in minutes. The role of CPROTEC digital twin is to simulate product properties, predict and optimize performance of a physical asset during a virtual pre-test, shorten commissioning times, and increase engineering quality. Additionally, CProtect Digital Twin can be used for training purposes. With that, let's move on to our next big topic beyond IoT. How can we ensure cybersecurity? Ayla, can you help us here?
Yes. On the one hand, technology has evolved tremendously over the last years. On the other hand, the increase in the usage of devices with intelligent and IoT technology has led to the increase in the cyber threats and the need for cybersecurity for business. Cybersecurity for business is a preventive measure designed to safeguard data from theft and damage. The businesses are developing and implementing advanced cybersecurity solutions to detect, mitigate, and minimize the risk of cyber attacks. On this slide, you can see some of the examples of the cyber attacks in the last years, and the number of attacks is increasing from year to year. Due to the cybersecurity risk increase, broader regulations are coming up, which are needed to deal with the growing threat landscape. For example, operators of critical infrastructure in Germany already have the obligation to inform about security incidents, as well as continuously and automatically record and evaluate appropriate parameters and characteristics from ongoing operations. And we see the trend now that more and more countries are introducing similar rules. But Anna, I think you can tell us more and make it more tangible what you can do to really concretely for our OT asset management.
Our first application is OT Companion, our solution for better OT asset management. As we mentioned before, OT assets include relays, RTUs, PCs, routers, and other devices. Let's start with a couple of questions about your OT assets. Please think, what do you know about your operational equipment? Do you have up-to-date information about all your vendors and technology that you operate? Most probably, you collect this information in the spreadsheets or in your ERP, EAM systems, but in this case, you have only the static information. What is your exposure to published cybersecurity vulnerabilities? Are all your assets safe and secure? Almost 2,000 security vulnerabilities were disclosed in 2021 only, and the number is rising every year. Cyber attacks against critical infrastructure mostly target industrial control systems rather than steal data. That leads us to the question, how do you evaluate and mitigate the risks? It's important to connect the OT assets and the cybersecurity to identify the risks and security vulnerabilities, and to plan maintenance and patch management. OT Companion scales vulnerability monitoring with security patch management and secondary asset transparency. The main pain point here is that the OT assets and components are multi-vendor, multi-generation, and multi-technology. So our OT Companion overcomes this challenge and enables to gain the asset transparency across all installed OT assets. Here you can see the main features of the application. I already mentioned OT asset transparency, compliance to cybersecurity regulations, and effective security patch management. Additional feature is baseline management, which allows to define baseline configurations and compare actual and expected versions, and then provide report about discrepancies. To sum it up, OT Companion provides effective automatic security vulnerability identification, improves risk mitigation, saves time with patch management, plus protects the power systems from cyber attacks and incidents. And now let's move on to a short live demo, which will explain to you how our application looks like. So when we open OT Companion, we start with the dashboard, which represents all the important KPIs on one screen. So for this tenant, we have connected 7 stations, 43 assets, and 31 components. So almost 74% of the components are monitored right now for security vulnerabilities. And they can see that 18 assets are potentially affected. So that means that they have security vulnerabilities. So the next topic is the baseline management, as I described before. So almost 46% of the components are adhering to the defined baseline version. We also can see here the distribution of manufacturers for hardware components. And you can see that, for example, we have also third-party components connected to our tenant. For example, ABB, Advantech, Meinberg, and Schneider. And last but not least, we also have the distribution of the asset types. So, we can see here that the majority of the devices are for the protection. Then we jump to the baseline management tab. And here we can see the list of all our devices. And with the status, so with the icon, we can check if the device has the baseline version or the current version is not compliant to the baseline defined version. So with the green status, that means that the device already has the baseline version. With the yellow status, you can see that the baseline version and installed version differ. So that means that most probably you have to patch the device. And with the blue status, blue icon, you can see that the baseline version is not defined yet. So you can also adjust that with the icon here and add the baseline version. But right now, maybe you have a question. How to define the baseline version? So here we go to the vulnerability monitoring tab. And here we see all the security vulnerabilities that we have for the devices that we operate. Basically, without OT Companion, you have to check the web pages of different vendors and check if there are any new security vulnerabilities for the devices that you operate. With OT Companion, you can see all these notifications in the app. And for example, if we check ABB Relion, we will see in the description on the right side that these specific components are affected. So that means that they have security vulnerabilities. If we scroll down, we also can see the solution. Here we see the specific versions, so that means that the devices should be patched. And that's basically the answer to the question how to define the baseline version. So you can see that here in the details. And also, if you scroll down a little bit more, you will see the link to the vendor advisory where you can actually get this page. So all the necessary information is already in the OT Companion. And of course, that was just the live demo, short live demo of some of the features of the app. The full version you will see on a separate webinar. And now we can continue with our presentation.
So now let's go to the next topic in the cybersecurity arena, which is our SIEM service. So what is SIEM? SIEM stands for Security Information and Event Management System for Cybersecurity Incident Detection and Response. We have seen that the cybersecurity attacks as well as regulations are getting more and more. Let's start with an overview which kind of systems are available for attack detection. There are three main systems: the intrusion detection, the intrusion prevention system, and the SIEM, where our focus is on today. An intrusion detection system is for detecting attacks directed against computer systems or computer networks. Intrusion detection systems monitor and analyze network activity to detect unusual traffic. Intrusion prevention systems are intrusion detection systems that go beyond the simple generation of events to provide functions that can automatically defend against the detected attack. And a security information and event management, so a SIEM solution, is a solution that enables the monitoring, detection and alerting of security events or incidents within an IT environment. It provides a comprehensive and centralized overview of the security situation of an IT/OT infrastructure. SIEM systems collect and aggregate so-called log data generated throughout a whole organization's IT infrastructure. With the increasing digitalization of the energy automation and SCADA world, you also need to know who did what, where, when, or what occurred when with what consequences, so that you can either preemptively prevent a disaster from occurring or respond to it adequately. And for that, you need a little bit eyes on the ground. And how you can do that? You need to have security relevant information being collected, aggregated, processed and visualized, and that is what a SIEM service is all about. Our SIEM service is all about making two things. One is bringing transparency to your OT installed base through log management at the site level, so that could be substation or could be also the control center or both. If you then have the transparency at the site level, you publish all the information that you are collecting continually to a central SIEM. The central SIEM has the benefit of not only archiving the information for forensics, but also to filter the information as per alert rule that we have developed with focus on energy automation systems. We have about 200 specific rules which we have developed in our OT know-how for energy automation customers. That is where really the value add is lying. By the way, if the customer buys the service from us, we tailor the rule set to consider also the customer's own operating practices and policies. Because every customer operates in different ways. What is normal in one customer side might be an anomaly of the other customer side. So that kind of rule adaptation is also part of our service. And then, of course, we provide the transparency to the customers to run his security operations. So in total, we provide you on the one hand transparency, on the other hand the ability to comply with cyber regulatory requirements, which, as we have seen at the beginning, are increasing. As an overview, so as I said, we are collecting all security relevant events via the so-called syslog protocol from the devices within the substation. That could be protection devices, network devices, PCs, firewall, etc. And send them then to a central syslog server. Based on this information, SIEM with the specific rules is evaluating and give an immediate alarm if suspicious behavior is detected. In short, SIEM collects all security relevant information from all components of the system. The information is sent to the SIEM via a syslog protocol. This information is then linked in SIEM to detect abnormal activities of the system. If Siemens detects, or if the SIEM detects an attack or an anomaly, an alarm notification is sent and the operator is informed. Due to the continuous check and automatic evaluation of the security logs and detection of abnormal behavior, you create the base to respond and react properly. It also ensures to fulfill reporting obligations and in case of suspicious activities which have led to and may lead to an impairment of the operation of the critical infrastructure. And with that, we move to another topic. Maybe you have already heard about the new released Siemens Accelerator and ask yourself, how is that fitting together? Siemens Accelerator is our open digital business platform which meets the digital needs and wants to create a powerful ecosystem of partners who can jointly accelerate digital transformation. The three main elements are portfolio ecosystem and marketplace. We have shown you today an extract of the Siemens Accelerator portfolio, especially in the field of energy distribution systems and grid networks. Nearly all our presented offerings you can find as well in the Siemens Accelerator marketplace, where you also find more details about. We know that was a lot of information today, but also you see our IoT applications are easy to use so that you can go digital faster.
Yeah, and everything is flexible, everything is modular. You can decide which modules suit your needs and only pay for what you use. Scale further with less costs. Integrate all substation equipment to become a digital caretaker and cybersecurity guard for your systems and networks.
In short, you can avoid unplanned shutdowns by identifying failures before they occur. Reduce OPEX, achieve CAPEX deferment. And reliability always matters. With the IoT applications, you get a reliable solution with decentralized system data in the cloud and all necessary cybersecurity and data protection directives in place, so that you can reduce your labor, maintenance, and operation costs. Protect yourself against cybersecurity threats. Start your digital journey and operate your energy supply systems more intelligently and ensure always highest level of security.